As a comic reseller, I'm constantly going out looking for new collections. I went to Long Island, New York for the collection we're going to talk about today. 16,000 comics. It was, he thought there was about 10,000, but there was a lot more. Shout out Rick in Long Island, New York. Thanks for everything. It was a great experience. And your brother, it was great meeting everyone and working together out of a garage, processing all these comic books. So he had felt that there was some pretty significant keys in there, and they weren't actually in there. Specifically, 5 copies of Amazing Spider-Man 300. And this was a comic shop that was closed quite a long time ago. So most of these books are from the 90s when the store closed. But there are some, you'll see some 80s books intermingled. And those books weren't there, and I was hoping to find some Faust and some other things that he felt were in there, and they weren't there either. But I picked up the collection. What I did, and I always do this when I get a collection, is I go through it before I ship it. So I went through it as much as I could. When you're dealing with that many books, I wanted to rebox some of them and just completely pack them out a little bit different. Also ship them in the long boxes. I have a process I do that with, and short boxes that I bought and built out. So there's a lot of labor. It took me a couple days. I went through everything. I pulled books out as I went. They're not necessarily keys, but I'm going to say 75% of them are. Some of them are just good-looking copies of a particular book, and as I was going through the box, I wanted to make sure that it stayed in the condition I saw it in. I like to bring those home with me, and I usually do it in a suitcase in short boxes. So I brought these home, and we have all the books now, and we're getting ready to move some things around. I think we have around 75,000 comics right now in our backstock.
Coming out of our ears in comics.
So we're swimming in comic books. I'd love to sell them all in one day, but that's not the way we operate. So
I don't think that's the way anyone operates unless they're selling everything.
So yeah, some people just flip, and we're not flippers. We buy things if it needs improvement through pressing, cleaning. We do that. Some books I just put in my backstock for later times when maybe a book gets more attention, or a series.
Or otherwise tuck it away, as he says.
Or I tuck them away, and boy, have I been tucking.
Give him the tuck.
I'm literally considering taking 80% of these books and just hiding them away for some other time. I found some books that I was looking for, actually, and that I've always wanted. So with not a lot of ado, we're going to get right to this cherry-picked box that turned into almost 2 boxes once we bagged and boarded right before we were shooting this.
Because you did mention all of them were raw, right?
Everything was in a bag, but maybe not a board or not even a bag. So all of these were pretty compacted into one short box. Bagged and boarded them. It's almost 2 short boxes now. So I'm going to show you those books real quick. We have some housekeeping. Rachel likes to do that.
Okay. I love to do it. Hello. Thank you for joining us today. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel where we post videos, and it'll notify you if you click the little bell. Also, go follow us over on Instagram where we do claim sales every Monday at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And we also do a secondary claim sale. Our next one is on Thursday, July 18th at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time over on Instagram Live. We always have a really fun selection of comics, and we have a lot of fun over there, so you definitely want to join us. Also, if you follow us over on Instagram, we do pop-up sales all the time. So following us over there, you'll know when our next pop-up sale is too. So definitely follow us if you don't.
We will sell unusual things. We sold a lot of Bernie Wrightson's signature books in the last month.
So much Dave Stevens.
Sold a lot of Dave Stevens. It was in high demand. We sold a lot of Mark Jewelers that people are just going nuts over getting. We sell a lot of books from pedigrees, raw pedigree books. I still have a lot of them in my backstock. So we try to mix it up. We specialize in bronze and copper primarily. We do sell everything, though. Mm-hmm. We've sold a lot of silver, and we've sold a lot of moderns. But bronze and copper is where I'm just keenly focused.
That's our bread and butter.
On having a huge backstock of. So one last thing, we also really focus on back issues and complete sets. We consider ourselves a collector's company, that we're really focused more on the collector than the investor, on people who might be completists or people who like to have more than just that one key Marvel book. So we sell a lot of things, anything from Dell to Gold Key to IDW horror. So
I was going to say horror books.
We're the gambit. We're absolutely the gambit. And keep in mind that we buy collections. I'm always focused on buying collections. I bought 2 collections this past week. I bought a collection the previous week, a fantastic one that I showed you 1 box out of in our last video. But it's all independents, and I love stuff like that. But we buy any type of books, so always consider us. We absolutely pay the most. We can use references from people that we've bought comics from. You definitely should consider us first, as you're thinking about possibly selling a small or large collection. Right to it though, let's talk about the books that we picked up. What I want to do is show you, some of these are very cool, some of these are really in high demand, some of them are obscure, some of them are keys, and I'll tell you why I pulled them out. Let's go through. Okay, we're going to get right to it. I found this copy of Alf 48. Anyone who's familiar with this book, it's one of my favorite double entendre covers, farcical covers. I was super happy to get a copy of this. Probably going to keep it for a while, but I picked up one of those. Yeah, there was stuff like this in there, and I didn't grab a lot of it because there wasn't enough to grab, but I'm always looking for 20, 25-cent Spider-Mans. Those are good. And then, you know, this book is not as hot as it used to be back in 2021-22, but I still think it's a fantastic Eric Larson cover. I think it's one of my favorite Eric Larson covers for Amazing Spider-Man and Venom. Well, then, of course, you got this Carnage Part 1. The thing about this book I'll always point out is you're always looking for centering on this book. You can see the back cover right there. That black line, the best place to have that black line if you're going to get a copy of this book is all the way at the edge so you cannot see the back cover. Anyway, picked up a copy of that. Pretty happy about it.
Sandman number 8.
Sandman number 8. And there's a lot of Sandmans in this, but not every Sandman. But this was a super nice, it's always a nice book to get. Great cover, first appearance of Death. If you're a Sandman fan, it's kind of a must-have, and this is Gaiman at his finest. Got a copy of Sandman 18, Dream Country, Dream of a Thousand Cats. One of my favorite stories of all time. Love the video rendition of this that they did in the Sandman series. And this was just sitting there waiting for me. This is She-Hulk 34. We call this the ball cover, or, you know, she's naked. So yeah, essentially naked. Great John Byrne cover. So if you don't have a copy of this and you haven't seen it, it's just one of the more popular books. I just saw it. This was in really high grade. I decided let's make sure it stays that way. I grabbed it and put it in my bag. So if you guys ever watched Alien Nation, that's what this is from, that show. And then you got Planet of the Apes, and they got together to pate.
In Ape Nation.
This Batlash was sitting there. It needs to be cleaned and pressed. It's got a couple of things going on, but I really do like this series. I really like the covers in the era. It was a really nice copy of this Batman 500 from the Nightfall series, number 19 in Nightfall. This is a die-cut cover and opens up right here. It was just a really clean copy, and I threw it in the box. Not a big key or anything. I've had many copies of this. I've owned a copy of this for decades. Shade Changing Man. This is series 2 that came out in the 90s. This is a very popular series when it came out. Yeah, this too. I bought this book new when it came out, and I sold mine. I sent it in, got a 9.8. I love Sleepwalker. I think his series was 20 issues or less. This is a good book to have, so I just threw it in the box. I like having that. On these particular books from Valiant, some of them are really still pretty heavily sought, and all of the number ones from the major series, like this one. Solar Man of the Atom number 1. There was only one copy out of all those books, so I just tucked that in. Yeah, this is great. So here we got a Richard Corbin, Son of Mutant World, number 5. Boy, you can really see his art on this cover. It's just a cool book, you know, so threw that in there. These were more popular before. It'd be great to get both their signatures. They're both still alive. It'd be great to get both their signatures on this, Rachel, because it's a cool book to have signatures on. This is a trade paperback. So Image Comics, Spawn and Batman. Frank Miller, Todd McFarlane. Cool book. And that's a high grade one. Had several of these. Yeah, there you go. Not uncommon. I actually saw a guy in my buying trip that had an entire box of these.
And if that's not enough.
Yeah, and then the green copy. The green and black copy. There was no gold, no platinum, none of the other harder to get copies. Yeah, this die-cut book is always really popular, and this was a very nice copy, so I decided to go ahead and just take that out there and bring it home with me. And Batman Legends of the Dark Knight Halloween Special. And then we got this Long Halloween. That's number 10. I don't think they're in order. This one, Dark Knight's Halloween Special Independence Day. And these are really nice copies of these books, and these are still in demand. This is the best hologram I have ever seen. I really spent time in my room looking at that hologram, thinking, why don't all holograms look that good? That's the only reason I put it in my box. It's just a really nice looking book, and the hologram wasn't scratched. The book's in really high grade, so everybody wants a copy of this. What's hard to find is a copy that's in like 9.8, and this is no exception. It's not a 9.8. Super nice copy, though.
It's
I
got
just
that cardboard paper, so it's
put it aside. This is just a fun cover. Maximum clonage. Yeah, it's got an acetate cover on it. Just lots of Spider-Man.
It also looks like it's lenticular, but it's
And
not.
I think it's a wraparound, if I'm not mistaken. But that's a nice book. Just threw it in the box. Starman #1. This is after the short series, I think. Cool book. Glad to have another copy of that. Notice these things aren't really big, but this is kind of what the collection had. It was nice to get this particular book. This is Static #1. If you guys remember, there's a platinum edition, and then there's this edition. This is not the platinum. This is the collector's edition. Anyway, this Bill Sienkiewicz cover, I think there's 2 of these. I grabbed this, threw it in the box because it was in just really high grade. Super happy to get another copy of this. I had a 9.8 of this in my PC. This is not a 9.8. Still has the trading cards in it, though. And it's still just a very cool book, so glad to get another copy of this.
My favorite.
Yeah, I think I have a 9.8 slab of this somewhere. I love this book. I think it's just fun as all get out as a horror collector. And this is the scarifying first issue of Treehouse of Horror. Yeah, I like Bloodshot #1. This is a nice book, and it's got that, I don't know, whatever that is.
Shiny.
Yeah, it's got aluminum or whatever it is cover. Very nice book. If you're not familiar with this series, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, there was multiple covers even in the 90s on these books. There was like a drawn cover, and then there was usually a photo cover. And this is nice to get, a #1 with the photo cover. Glad
Looks
to have
nice
that.
too.
Now here's one, Rachel, that you don't
I
find.
love this.
You don't find this often. And let's educate the people if they don't know. You might look at this book and say, well, that's goofy. Go try to find one in grade. So this one's not. I'm going to say this is probably very fine at the top. Maybe because it has, can you show this? It just has some spine breaks right there. Otherwise, really clean. But enough, when we grade books, spine breaks really, they can continue to decrease the grade if they're bad. And they're just white all the way through them. So, super nice book. In 9.8, this is worth a lot of money. Anything from Star Comics #1s from this era, they were not collected. They were read, guys. Check that out. The Terror of Godzilla from Dark Horse Comics. Great cover. Showdown at 50 Fathoms. And with Sleepwalker comes Toxic Avenger. I bought them both, I think, just from memory. They came out at similar times, and I love having this book. And the whole series wasn't there, but there was other issues. This is a good one. So this is a die-cut cover, and it has texture to it. If you run your finger over it, I mean, it's raised pretty significantly off the page. Very good-looking comic book, just from publication standpoint. But also, when it comes to Good Girls, all of the Trouble with Girls covers are all Good Girl covers, and this is no exception. So this is from Epic Comics. It's The Trouble with Girls #1, Heavy Hitters. Yeah, this Dave Stevens book, I always like getting this book. I think it's a very cool cover, doing an homage to DC and other pre-code love comics, romance comics, but this is a great one. True Love #1, Dave Stevens. This book is not incredibly popular, but I think it's a good book, and I think anyone who collects it, because it's pretty early, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, 1991. It's a cool book, so I saw that in there and grabbed it, just put it aside. So here's a Catwoman #1 die-cut cover. These are very cool. Just grabbed it, put it in the box. I like the cover, I like the book. Yeah, here we go. Innovation Comics, Child Play #1. Now, just check out that art. There's something about, and I consider this to be bad art. I just do, but because of the way it's drawn, I really like it a lot. It kind of reminds me of Garbage Pail Kids stickers or something. I don't know. That's a good book to have if you collect horror, especially pop culture relevant horror tied into movies. This run with Sinister are popular right now. So yeah, I saw some of those. I just threw them in the box. I'll probably sell these the fastest. X-Men 241 with Madeline Pryor, the Goblin Queen. Just straight out of X-Men 97. Been watching that. What a great show. Cool book. And the essentially always cool X-Men 266. The second appearance of Gambit. And also the first cover.
Finish up the X-Men.
Yeah, we'll keep doing X-Men. We have X-Men 282. And this is, and the 283. This is a cameo appearance of Bishop. And that's the first full appearance of Bishop.
We got the Bishops. The old tried and true Venom Lethal Protector #1.
Yeah, everyone likes this book. It's just one of the prettiest books. It's kind of a must-have for any Venom collector, but I think there was only one copy in
Which is
all those
crazy
books.
considering.
Well, we have a lot of copies now.
Yeah, I'll always buy
Now
those.
put away. Any book like this is a die-cut cover, so this actually has texture. It looks like it's coming off the page. If you're a horror fan, I'm really liking the more obscure stuff that people aren't as accustomed to. So this is Marvel Frontier Comics, Children of the Voyager #1. This is actually a Marvel comic under a different banner. I shouldn't have to explain this, but this is Chuck Norris, Karate Commandos #1, newsstand edition. Star Comics, this has a lot going for it. Can you point out again how the miswrapping really kind of throws off the cover? It's the back cover you're seeing there. So if a picky collector might pass on a book like this, some people that doesn't bother them at all. Cool book. How about the Cryptic Writing of Megadeth #1 from Chaos Comics? Yeah, very cool. Superheroes from the mind of Clive Barker. He did some superhero books. This is a die cut. It's just popping off the page. It's from Marvel Comics. It's #1. I don't think. Yeah, I have owned this. I owned a 9.0 slab, and this is probably a 9.0. This is Conan the Barbarian 241. Very early Todd McFarlane work. That's Todd McFarlane cover doing Conan. You guys are familiar with this book. It's nice to grab a copy of that. Dark Horse Comics #1, not to be confused with Dark Horse Presents #1. They ran totally different types of books through this Dark Horse comic series than they did Dark Horse Presents. But there's the #1. And here's the #7. It has Star Wars. And the last one had Predator. I didn't mention that. This has Star Wars. Early Star Wars going into other publications. And here's a Darkman #1 from Marvel Comics. This is a 3-issue limited series. Oh, it had the whole set of V for Vendetta. I just took the #1. It's got like a little tiny tear at the top and a fold, so it's not very high grade. And a really popular comic coming out of DC from this era, V for Vendetta. This is the Venus Wars #1. This is a Dark Horse comic. It has trading cards with it. Really cool manga book. I like the way that looks. Everyone has to have a copy of Voltron. This has a tear at the top. I can kind of clean that up a little bit. I can actually straighten that up where it doesn't look nearly as bad in the press. Probably an 8.5 or an 8.0. Still a very cool book. And from Amazing Comics, I got Wabbit Wampage #1. I'd never seen this book before. I literally laughed out loud when I saw it.
Oh, it's
I
so
think
funny.
it's fun.
Amazing.
I like the icons on his saw there, his chainsaw. Very cool book. Wabbit Wampage #1. Yeah, I got I think there's 3 out of the 4 Walking Dead. This is a miniseries. It came out 4 years before Walking Dead. It's also a very similar story about zombies taking over the world. So this is from Aerosol Comics. I have multiple sets of this, and we're really going to sell a lot of the stuff in October during our horror sales. Got 3 copies of the #4 in varying grades. Another great cover. Yeah, I love this. So this is a Dan Day cover on Day Brothers Presents Horror. Kind of reminds me of Wrightson a little. It's scary. It reminds me of a 70s movie poster or something.
It's also giving Red Room vibes. I'm sure he read this.
It's from Caliber Comics, and I really like a lot of stuff Caliber did. Notice I kind of grab weird books because I'm weird. Kitchen Sink, Death Rattle #1. This is the second series of Death Rattle, but it's another killer cover. They're just known for their covers and content. Stories are always pretty good in these. I've read a lot of them, and they are good. They're just good comics. And I have other copies of this. This is Bram Stoker's Dracula. What I really like about these are the Mike Mignola covers. This is the #3, and it is one of the Mignola covers, and it's really good work. You'll remember Mike Mignola primarily from Hellboy. So we got 4 copies of Watchmen #1. This book is tough to get in a 9.8. I hope I get a candidate out of there. If I do, I'll actually slab one. I have slabbed a 9.8 of these before, but a really important series, great storyline, and as you know, it's had multiple shows, movies, and it's just a very popular story. Yeah, that's #2. That's also a really nice copy right there. It's actually a 9.8 candidate. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Waxwork as a film. The original version was done during the golden age of movies, which was 20s and 30s.
It's an old horror movie, right?
It's an old horror movie that's been done multiple times, but very cool. It's got a very cool history. You should look up sometime if you're interested in film. This is Waxwork 3D #1 from Blackthorn Publishers. Does not have the glasses, I don't think. Flaming Carrot Comics number 27. I think it was 27 and 28. This is the early appearance of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And it's a pretty popular book. I mean, in that series,
It's a McFarlane cover.
Yes, yeah, show that again.
That.
Show it to everyone. So this is another early Todd McFarlane cover, popular book. If you don't own this and you're a fan of McFarlane, a fan of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, I just ask why you don't own it yet.
I didn't realize that he did covers like that. That's fun.
Did a good job, too. Freddy's Dead #1, The Final Nightmare.
Welcome to
There he is. He's got his Wolverine hand on. Innovation, by the way. I like what Innovation and Now Comics were doing in this era. And there's a cool book, The Gates of the Night. What a cool cover. Can you close up on that a little bit? Let me see how buried those eyes are. Yeah, it's just a good cover, and this guy's missing a couple of toofuses. If you don't have a copy of Godzilla vs. Barkley, I'd ask, why not? Anyway, this one, I looked at it. It's got a couple of condition issues, but I was kind of hoping it'd be a little higher grade. What a cool book this is.
Someone's going to love this.
Absolutely, absolutely. This is the Godzilla color special. It's a 40-page book. It's a #1 from Dark Horse. Art Adams art, you guys.
Doing big dinosaur.
Yeah, I think he's in on the interior there. Art Adams.
Oh, he didn't do the cover.
I don't think so. Here's a copy of Dreadstar #1, Ernie Colon, Malibu Comics. What a cool book. Jim Starlin's Dreadstar #1. Why is that there, Dave? Because it was in really nice shape.
It's awesome.
And I like Count Dracula. It's not a key by any stretch, but when I looked at it, I just
So
decided
cute.
to throw it in the box because I like it. Here's The Pit and the Pendulum from Eternity Comics, Edgar Allan Poe. Great horror book. It's #1. There was other copies. They are also just as cool. Super happy to find this in there. This is Gunfires from Hell. This is, so it's a very large trade paperback. The price on this is $20. It costs $20 new.
Probably cost $20 to ship it too. It's heavy.
It's a fantastic book. I don't think I'm going to resell this. This is definitely, I have some original art from this series. I also have a signed comic book by him and his brother, the Vigil Brothers. I mean, I have some stuff, so I'm just kind of building out my Gunfighters in Hell collection. So we got this copy from Comico Comics, E-Man #1. This is not the first appearance, and I don't know if it's a reprint or not, but it's cool.
I like the little koala guy.
Yeah. Here's X-Mutants #1. This is a pretty cool book to get. Pretty high grade. It's not like a 9.6, unfortunately, which is what I'd like for a book like this, but somebody will be happy with that along the way. It's Fantastic Four #358. This is the first appearance of the Super Scrolls. Got pretty popular with some spec early on. Die-cut cover. This four is a circle at the inner page.
Another thick one.
Kind of a must-have book for FF collectors. Anyway, nice to get a copy of that. I've got this whole series now. So from Eclipse Comics, we have Halloween Horror, and she looks really nice. But look at the kids. Kids don't look so nice. She's bringing treats, but they're getting tricks out. So yeah, it's not a good scene. Here's Harbinger #0 from 1992. I was kind of hoping a #1 would be in there. That book is still really popular and heavily sought after. And I found that. I'm like, I just throw that in the box of like keys because I'd never seen that before. And I know that people who like wrestling love wrestling. So it's WCW World Championship Wrestling #1. It's the first body slamming collector's issue, you guys. And there is Lex Luger right on the cover. Looking all oily. Got a copy of Magnus Robot Fighter #0. I was looking for a #1. That book's still very popular, but this is good too. So this series was really popular at the time, and Valiant is just not. There's way overprinted. Most people don't collect Valiant or really spend money on them unless they're key issues. And this is, the #1 is a key issue. I grabbed the #0. It's still popular. So this is great. This is Married with Children #1 with this photo cover. It's got the poster. It's got a big poster inside. It's still attached. Yeah, I like this series. I certainly like this show from Now Comics. So yeah, this is a cool book. Yeah, what a fantastic cover on Eclipse's Alien Valentine Weird Romance #1.
What a title.
It's great. Underwater cover. He's kissing a mermaid ghost thing, and looks like she's about to rip his back open or something. But it's just the art's really pretty. It reminds me of pre-code romance and pre-code horror, so it's pretty cool. So this is Wonder Woman 97. I wish he had 20 of these because this Brian Bowling cover is fantastic. It's Wonder Woman Joker face. Yeah. So this is 90s Wonder Woman. There were some other really cool covers from this era, and this is one of them. So I found an X Factor 19, which is the first cover appearance of Apocalypse. Always liked picking up copies of Marvel Comics Presents 72, and they had the entire run in this, and there was just a ton of them. Most of these are not high grade. I might be able to pull one or two high grade copies out. The rest I would say are 9.0, 9.2. Cool books though, and it's just known that Barry Windsor Smith kind of made a comeback with this in terms of he was going to do some other stuff in independent comics, but this is by far this series was some of the best covers he did from that era. So Marvel Team Up 65, not a high grade issue, but I'm here to tell you guys, I never find copies of this. I don't know what it is about this book. People just hoard this or something, but yeah. First appearance of Captain Britain. Probably one of the most sought after keys in this whole series, except the first black outfit. Master of the Universe, got a couple copies of that. Yeah, always popular. And then we also got the number 3. They got a couple copies of that.
Newsstand and direct on
Yeah.
this.
So this is X-Files number 1 from Topps Comics. It's the first collector's issue, as it tells you. Photo cover. Glad to get this. I got the whole series of X-Files, and there's multiple copies, but not of the number 1. That's the only copy I found.
That's cool.
Here's X-Men 2099. Cool metal cover. Yeah, it's just a popular book. I wouldn't say people are screaming to get it, but everyone wants a nice copy if they can get it. I got this Zatanna Special number 1. This is a thick copy. Yeah, I got a couple copies of that. I just threw them in here. I really don't know about this book, but it's Zatanna, man, and it's her own book, so it's where magic
Doesn't like Zatanna.
Yeah. New Mutants Annual 2, this is a key. Forget right off the top of my head what it is. It's the first appearance, and I can't remember for the life of me, but leave it in the comments if you know. This is a sought-after book, and we've had a lot of copies of this and sold them all. Boom! New Mutants 87. I was really happy to find a copy of this. There just happened to be one in there, but as you guys know, this is the first appearance of Cable, who went on to be in his own series, have his own team. So New Mutants 87, great book to have. So this is Neon City number 1. What a just great, pretty comic book. It's from Innovation Comics. Check out the back cover. Yeah, so it reminds me of Nagel, the artist Nagel a bit, and it came out around the same era. But it also has some real good girl flair, so just glad to get a copy of this. It's such a nice shade.
Very 80s.
So picked up a copy of this. When I put it away, I didn't really have a chance to look at it. My room was kind of dark, so I love when he signs these sweet dreams, and it's not personalized, so that's great. Neil Gaiman signed it at the bottom. I brought it home, and I'm looking at it with some friends. I stopped in Ohio, and I pulled it out and we looked at it. And when I started looking at it, I realized he embellished the cover. So this is kind of a jackpot. This is probably the best book I found. It's in grade. It looks fantastic. I'm super happy to have that. For the time being, it's right back in my PC because I don't have a copy right now, and I wanted to get a copy. And that's a great. I don't even like signature books, but if you're going to do it, be embellished by Neil Gaiman on that book. X-Man number 1. This one's been kind of popular, and there was a nice copy in there. I just pulled it out. There was only one copy. A lot of these things, there was only one copy, guys. This is Kelly Jones Zombie World, number 1 of 4, and the one shot. This is fantastic. This guy's eating a heart. He's got flies on his eye. I mean, come on, man. Dark Horse was doing it. Check out his fingers. Yeah. This is called Eating Your Heart Out. We also got this number 1 from a mini-series, Winter's Dregs. Cool book. Here's a Nightmaster, number 1. It looks like they took a picture of Nightmaster and then they put the Silver Wolf thing around it. I'm not quite sure if this is a reprint. It is Tim Vigil art, and it's early. Anytime I see a Silver Wolf book, I grab it. I haven't told Rachel this. I would like to have every Silver Wolf book ever printed. I'd like to have all of them, if that's doable, because that was his company, Tim Vigil's.
Oh, okay.
I'm curious how attainable that would be. Here's Pinhead number 3. Cool cover if you like saws and chains and pins. There's a lot of that going on. Clive Barker, if you're familiar with the movie Hellraiser, that's what this is from. And this had a lot of steam in the 90s. People still really like that movie. The Pit number 1, I just threw this in there. It looked like a good copy. Yeah, this has been kind of popular again, and people are starting to kind of chase after it. Here's Plastic Man, the 4-issue miniseries from the 80s. This is the number 1. Glad to get this. I didn't have a copy of this, so it's good to add that to my backstock. House of Secrets 81. There was not a lot of House of Secrets in there. There might have been 5 or 6 issues, and this is one of them. Probably a very good, maybe a very good plus. I don't know. I haven't really looked at it. It's a lower grade copy of a very important Neil Adams Bronze Age horror book. Where 3 series, The House of Secrets, The House of Mystery, and Unexpected, all had reboots into horror. And here you go. So here's this one, the Scary House in the Distance. Try to find this in grade, guys. It's not as common as some of the other books that are sold. There's a lot of horror books out there in this grade that you can find. This one less often. So it's still expensive in any grade because it is the very first issue, turning House of Secrets into a horror title that would go on to have some great covers and stories. So here it is, House of Secrets 81, key from that series. Here's the new Incredible Hulk 377. There's 2 reprints of this that are really popular. This is the original cover. Yeah, there's 3 covers for this, and they're all based on what printing. And they were really popular, and they're not as popular right now, but I don't understand that really. If you liked a book at one time, why are you hating it later? I don't know. This is Jason Goes to Hell, the official movie adaptation. The Final Friday. This is a glow-in-the-dark cover. This is a really nice copy from Topps Comics if you don't have this. Fun book. It has trading cards inside. I mean, there's every marketing ploy you could possibly think of going after the Jason. Super happy to get this copy of Plop number 22 because of the grade. I pulled this out. I'm like, well, this is in grade. It's really hard to find these in near mint or near mint minus even. But here's Plop number 21 is square bound, and then there was also, this is Plop number 22, square bound copy, and there was also a Plop number 24, and they're both really high grade. Here's a number 1. If you guys like Plop, if you like Basil Wolverton, Mad Magazine, it all kind of connects and ties, but this is Plop number 1, so I haven't had number 1 of this in a long time.
They all look very similar to me.
Because they're all silly, yeah. Okay, this is Clown Shock from North Star Comics. It's number 1. We've had a copy of this and sold it before.
Yeah.
These are the kind of horror books I really like to go after, guys. The more obscure ones. Try to find them in the highest grade I can. But this is the kind of stuff we sell during our horror sale as well in October.
This is Lady Death number 1, The Dark Millennium from 2000.
Yep, a lot of Lady Death number 1s, guys, and this is pretty cool. But I've been just running into a lot of Lady Death recently, so I've been picking up a lot of it.
This is The Lost World Jurassic Park number 1 miniseries, number 1 from Topps Comics. There it is.
Yes, Lost World. So yeah, I like all the Topps Jurassic Parks. They're great.
This is Rye, I think is how you say it, number 0 from Valiant. We've had a few copies of this before. It's pretty cool.
Great cover. It was a really popular run. I haven't found a number 1. I think number 0 is all I have.
Yeah. This is Ray Bradbury's The Illustrated Man from Topps Comics, number 1, the special edition.
I'm absolutely keeping this book till I replace it. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. I actually read the book by Ray Bradbury and saw the movie. My mother took me to this film when I was very young. I looked up before if they'd done Illustrated Man in comic book form, couldn't find it, and this was in there. So I'd never seen it before.
Oh, that's a nice surprise.
But I'm a huge fan of this story, and if you've never seen the movie or read the book, I would recommend either one because it's just a fantastic story. By the way, the movie had Rod Steiger was the star in it, and it was just part of the late 60s, early 70s run of fantastic science fiction movies. This is a science fiction story.
Here's Predator number 4 from Dark Horse. Everyone loves this.
Yep. 4-part miniseries, very popular at the time.
Puppet Master in full color number 1 from Eternity Comics.
It's from the movie Reanimator, if you guys remember. And Full Moon Entertainment. I think that they were in magazine in black and white first, but I'm not sure.
The Roadrunner. I don't know what number it is because it's gold key and the number's on the inside. But it's really cool.
It's cool copy. I like it.
And then we have another copy right here. I forgot that they got separated, but another copy from Gold Key of the Roadrunner.
Yeah, not very high grade on this one, but they're fun to have. I don't know why I put those in the box because they don't really belong.
I don't know, but they're cool. Here's the official movie adaptation of The Rocketeer, Dave Stevens cover. He does all those Rocketeer
Yep,
covers.
1991.
Huge trade paperback. Here's Reggie's Wise Guy Jokes, number 33 from Archie.
It's another one of those funky covers, man, that we all like so much. And last,
And finally, Roger Rabbit, number 1. This is from Disney Comics. All New Adventures. We just sold the Goofy.
yeah, you have this book.
I do. I have a bunch of these number 1s.
I bought for you when you were just a baby.
Just a Little Babe from 1996.
Well, I hope you like that. We should have some more videos coming. We do the best we can to try to get some content for you guys, but
It's going to be hard for us next week because we're going to be out of town. We're going to be at San Diego Comic Con.
and I'm going to Torpedo Con in LA. So
So if you
back
see
to
us,
back.
come say hi.
Yeah, make
I
sure to
might
say
have
hi.
Stickers, maybe.
And sell me a collection.
Yeah.
All right. Till next time.
Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and follow us on Instagram. Bye.
All right. Bye.